Hello and welcome to Communities Connected, a land and lifestyle podcast. I'm April Lamont, the CEO of Alisant, and today I'm joined by Sara Carbonell. Sara, tell us just very quickly a little bit about yourself and your role, and then let's jump in and talk about Amblebrook at Gettysburg.
Sure. Thanks. Nice to see you today, April. Um, I started at Amblebrook with CCD Rock Creek Ground Community Development in 2019. I have a history in home building. Have spent 20 years in home building, and then did take some time and worked 8 years on the government side of things, and then came back and have been working with Crown, which is a developer based out of Chicago, for the last 6 years.
You know, everywhere I look, I see Amblebrook at Gettysburg being discussed. I mean, it really is an exemplary active adult project. I think you'd mentioned you're about 30%, 35% sold. So
That's
you're
right.
in that really wonderful position of still trying to support your builders as with new home shoppers, but you've got a good group of people already on board. What do you think make the community unique?
I would say the residents that we bring to the community is located in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, and we really draw residents from the Maryland, Northern Virginia, DC area. We're also getting folks from New York and New Jersey too.
Mm,
But the people that are coming from those areas, really, many of them have government related past careers. And so, either as a government civilian in a military capacity or even as a contractor.
mm.
Um, and so they bring this different perspective to the campus, and we like to call Amblebrook a campus. So we really have, over the last several years, have really felt like this community is really, we think of it as a brain trust. Um, these folks really want to educate their neighbors, share what they've learned throughout their career, and really just impart that on others. And in addition to learning new hobbies and building friendship and getting fit, all of those things, they really are focused on education and really sharing their past career and experience with others.
And you had some really good examples of that, right? Where the residents are taking the initiative to really share and learn. Are there a couple that come to mind?
Sure. Yeah. So our residents have implemented a TED Talk series, essentially. And again, this was driven by them, which I just love. As a developer, prior to hiring a property management company, we really seed the programming, right? We start the programming based upon research, and then we hire a property management company, and they continue that, and they gain resident feedback to determine what other programs they want to continue. But then from there, the residents start to take it over, which is
Mm.
wonderful to see. And that's natural evolution of things. So one of the things that they started was the TED Talk series, which is popular. I'm sure you've seen that. And
Sure.
um, in fact, one of our residents did a talk on foreign policy. And so this is
Mm.
something that is, you would never think that in an active adult community that you would be learning about foreign policy, but it was well attended, and he just continues to come up with topics that are interesting like that weekly, and residents attend. So, that is one unique thing that just kind of, goes back to this whole brain trust, scenario and, in this community.
I love that. It's always interesting looking at active adult communities on the programmatic side, and we'll talk about that for Amblebrook in a minute. But when the residents really engage in creating their own, um, like you said, their own events, like a TED Talk series, then you know you've got some magic
Right.
that's going on.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about the age profile.
Well, it's interesting to see it change over the past several years. Right now, we're trending on the kind of the younger average age in the 60s, 62 to 65. We are an age restricted community, so we have 55 and older, or we like to say 55 and better residents in our community. When we started off, the average was more in the 70s. So we've really trended kind of on the younger end, which is interesting to see. And I really think that's because of a couple of factors. Folks are still working from home and they continue to work from home. So that means they can maybe move earlier. And we've seen
Mhm.
that, right? So they're continuing to have a part-time job perhaps, or have decided to make the move before retirement. And so that has lent itself to, uh, you know, contributing to this younger average age for the community.
I think there are a lot of people that would envy that.
Yeah.
There is definitely a vitality that comes with it, and it must look really attractive for your home shoppers to see how vibrant the community is. And I think we all try to figure out, like, what would it be like to live there? How would I fit in? And uh, what are you hearing from your home shoppers?
Well, many of our prospects, like we like to call them, or home shoppers, really have commented that they feel like this is a college campus,
Mm,
and which is so wonderful, right? I mean, if you think about this stage in their lives, right? If they had kids, their kids are now gone or they're in college. And so they have, they're starting over. And so where better to start over in a social setting like a college, right? Where you can meet other people with similar backgrounds, develop new hobbies, and have all of the amenities to encourage that. Plus, hardly any responsibilities. So
perfect.
that's really nice too.
Right.
So
Yeah. And I know in preparing for this call today, you shared a story about the Peters,
mhm.
a couple that have moved in there. Do you mind sharing
Sure.
with us all?
Sure, sure. This is a couple that I think they say that they were the fifth buyer at Amblebrook, so they're very proud to tout that. But they, they left a single family home in a very rural area, had a lot of land, and decided to downsize. But and so they came here and they have just flourished in this community, made some best of friends that they've traveled with. It's something that they hadn't done previously with where they lived before. But I think one big interesting piece about them is their background. She worked for, a government agency, and for I don't know, I think it was like 30 plus years, and
Mm,
did some really exciting. Uh, I'll call them missions. Participating in really exciting missions. And then also he was the mechanic for one of the mechanics for Air Force One.
mm.
So that is pretty outstanding. And they're just one of the many couples that have exciting backgrounds like that. And I talk a lot about government, but there's also, retired athletic director, there's teachers, there's civil servants, police officers, retired firemen, So we have it crosses the gamut. But the common thing is they love the community. They're close to grandkids, which they're happy about, most of them, right? Or their kids if they don't have grandkids.
Mhm.
And they're just loving the opportunities to explore new hobbies and meet their neighbors.
Yeah, just bringing that back around to the feeling of kind of going back to college,
Yeah.
as sort of as an adult. You're building new social structures, you're discovering new interests. It's an exciting time of life, one that I look forward to myself.
Yes, me too. Me too.
You like many active adult communities, you are not without your resort-like amenities.
Mhm.
I think what's different is where you're located, right?
Right.
We're not thinking resort land of coastal or um, talk a little bit about what the amenity plan looks like for Amblebrook.
Sure. Well, we're located in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. So to your point, we're not in the Sun Belt, for example.
Yeah.
Um, and so Our amenities, however, are, I think, second to none given the fact that we're not located in those areas. So we have over 50,000 square feet of indoor amenities. We have a clubhouse and a fitness center, an indoor pool. It's a 4-lane, 25-yard pool for those swimmers, and then a resort style pool outside. But then also one of our unique features in our fitness center is we have an indoor pickleball court. Actually, there are 3 indoor pickleball courts. And also we have the outside pickleball courts. We have 9 pickleball courts and 3 tennis courts. So in the Mid-Atlantic area, that is truly unique because we can promote year-round activity, year-round pickleball,
Yeah.
which is a very popular sport
Mhm.
amongst our buyer. So that is truly part of the resort style living. We also have some additional great spaces. We have a performing arts theater,
Yeah.
which we bring in small and large performances. We have a resident bar and lounge, an interactive kitchen where it's kind of like sur la table, where you can do you could participate in the cooking, or you could just watch and follow
Mhm.
along. We have a small theater space, which is where the TED Talks are hosted from
Yeah.
in art center, and then uh, in our fitness center, in addition to the pickleball courts and the indoor pool, we have a strength and cardio room, and we have some suites that are rented out to our health network provider, which is it's Wellspan Health, which is one of the
Mhm.
largest health providers in the area, and they provide a whole host of services for Amblebrook residents only. That's a really nice feature.
Yeah, and building on that, well-span relationship, you're now expanding that, aren't you, into some co-branded initiatives? Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. We're really excited about that. So, when we brought WellSpan into the community, we only envisioned massage and physical therapy. Those were the
Mhm.
two um, greatest needs and interests amongst our residents. But then we found that once the resident was done with physical therapy, they really wanted more, but they weren't quite ready for athletic training. So what WellSpan came up with is a kind of the in between that training that is needed after physical therapy, before athletic training. Kind of, I say to get the person back to fighting shape, so we just coined that as Well Strong. So
Uh-huh.
we're really excited, again, to offer that to our residents and have that as something that's specific to Amblebrook within this partnership.
Yeah, and that's a fee for service
It is.
initiative?
Yeah,
Mhm.
it is. All of those services that are provided by Wellspan, excuse me, are fee for service, and anything that operates out of those suite in within the fitness center are fee for service. So we also do offer athletic training. We offer some spa-like services, additional, like, massage. We've actually had, injectables, within the fitness center, which is a popular thing too. So yeah, all of
Wait,
those
what is that?
injectables, like, if, Botox, for example, or
Ah,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. So we've brought that on site by partnering with some local med spas,
Mhm.
and so that's been really, well received as well.
That's great.
Yeah.
You know, I know the Gettysburg area well, you know that. We both
Yeah.
share a 717 area code cell phone.
Yeah.
So I've spent a lot of time out there. And as I think about it, I think about the Civil War, the cyclorama, and I think about Gettysburg College.
Yes.
A really, really fine liberal arts college that's essentially right in your back door, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you started incorporating some, initiatives with them. You wanna talk about the early days and kinda where you're hoping to go from here?
Yeah, sure. So we had started talking with Gettysburg College right when we broke ground in 2000. We broke ground in 2018. And over the years, the discussions have continued to evolve. And one of the things, the direction that we're going, and we've already started some of this partnership, but the direction that we're going is to really allow for our residents to have access like a student to the Gettysburg College campus, but specifically to their innovation lab. Their
Mhm.
innovation lab is a lab dedicated to things like woodworking, 3D printing, sewing, things of that nature. And so our residents, if we've talked about this, that they, just love lifelong learning, and this is like right for them. So
Mhm.
that is one area that we feel could very much add to our residents' life by
Mm.
having access to that. And on the flip side, our residents are so well versed in, all walks of life, right? And they've got great wisdom to impart to the college student. And so we would really like to see, we've discussed this as well, we would really like to see the mentorship
Yeah.
um, opportunity, and build upon that with, you know, uh, the students and especially students that are getting ready to graduate, looking at, helping them, having our residents help them, kind of launch into the career that they're interested in pursuing. So that's another area that we're looking to solidify with the college. Additionally, again, with along the lifelong learning side of things, we have brought Gettysburg College into our clubhouse, and
Oh, nice.
they have taught a few classes to our residents. Again, very well attended, and we just want to make that a regular activity. So those were a few of the things. The classes have already started. The other two things that are in the works, and then we've also talked with them about essentially partnering with them on the reunion weekends, have
Oh,
allowing the parents that are or the folks that are coming back to college, or even with parents weekend, right? The
mhm.
allowing them to come over to Amblebrook, hosting a happy hour, giving them a chance to see Amblebrook, right? So for those that came back for the reunion, maybe they want to, move back to Gettysburg, and we're the perfect place for it. Or for those parents that have just dropped off their kids or are visiting their kids, again, maybe they can envision themselves living in Gettysburg too, and making Imblebrook their home.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, area of PA. It's a beautiful community. I've had the pleasure of walking through it with you
Yeah.
and not just seeing where it is today, but you really can see how it's gonna continue to blossom as you continue to, sell through the project.
Right.
I think we covered a lot of what I was hoping to cover. Back to Gettysburg College, I would imagine that there are a number of marketing opportunities, like you said, by hosting events or by making the community available to their alumni. I'm hearing from other developers who have a similar strategy of co-locating with uh, higher education, just what happens to those professors who retire
Right.
or the administration. So is there any like cross um, promotion or marketing efforts that you could envision?
Yeah, I envision sponsorships with the college,
Hmm.
supporting them, uh, through some of their events that are hosted on campus. So those are some definite benefits for both of us that I see that could be part of the partnership as well.
Perfect, perfect. Well, you do have a very interesting perspective on the project. I mean, you mentioned the groundbreaking in 2018.
Right.
Um, you've been there from the beginning, haven't you?
Yes, I have. I wasn't there for the groundbreaking, but I was one of the next hires in 2019. I started in February of 2019, and we opened for sales in June of that year, and we've
Hmm.
just been going strong ever since. So when we opened for sales, it was just land, and I really had to work with our team to develop this vision and figure out, from looking at our research, uh, figure out how to draw interest to the community in order to,
Yeah.
make sales, right? So um, that has been really exciting, and I've been part of the amenity planning, which is as equally exciting. It's one of those. opportunities. This is one of my colleagues has said this to me in the past, and I love it. He said, "This is one of those opportunities that you can't pass up, and not many people have an opportunity like this in their lifestyle." And I feel truly fortunate to be part of it.
Yeah, in fact, you were with the project before Crown was part of the project, isn't that right?
Yes, yes, I was. The project is comprised of it's a partnership,
Mhm.
and Crown has actually always been part of the
Mm,
community. They just now have more of a management role, and
watch.
so and the company and uh, the other partner that's involved has been really wonderful to work for and work with.
That's great. That's great. What's coming ahead? What should we be watching for Amblebrook?
Well, we recently just opened our community garden, so that's been very well received. That was one of the last amenities that we had planned. Um, we designed it in a way where the raised gardens are made of this. It's called Duragreen, I believe, of those durable beds, so that the water can come through the sides and things like this, and as opposed to cedar plank. So that's neat. And as soon as we opened it, the residents rented out each raised bed. There are 68 in there, and they're all spoken for, and they're growing everything from tomatoes to squash to cucumbers and flowers as well. So that is really nice to see them thriving in that garden. The last part of our amenity package right now is upgrading the amphitheater area. We have an outdoor amphitheater, and we recently added some landscaping, and we plan on putting some, shade out there for for
Yeah.
the artists and the audience as well.
I think that was coming in when I was visiting, so I'm sure that's gonna be beautiful.
Yes.
One thing, if it's alright with you, I'd love to touch on is the innovative program that you put together for your prospects to really understand what the community's all about. I think that it's really important for particularly the destination
Right.
and the uniqueness, the brain trust, the resort style amenities. Tell us a little bit more about the initiative that you designed and what kind of results you're seeing so far.
Absolutely. Well, through all of our programming, we have really learned so much about this buyer and how long it takes for the buyer to make the purchase decision. And so we wanted to really help encourage that decision to be had sooner. And so we came up with a stay and play program where we have a joy ride, we call it. Our tagline is more everyday joy. And so one part of the stay and play is the joy ride, which is a day stay. And then one is called the joycation, which is a few nights. It's like 3 nights and 2 days stay. And so we partnered with some local hotels to get a discount for the prospective buyer to take advantage of. And we work and leverage which is wonderful, the Alisat app to develop a full itinerary for that prospect while they are on the campus. We work directly with them, but they also can choose the activities that are most interesting to them.
Mhm.
And then, so they have a full list of activities. We even set them up to meet with a resident so they can really hear, straight from the horse's mouth, right? What it's like to live at Amblebrook. And we also give them a few swag things and some opportunities to enjoy the downtown area, because moving to an area, you want to know what else is out in the area outside of the community. So
Sure.
so we've partnered with some local restaurants and, have gotten gift cards to those restaurants for those prospective buyers. But this has been one of our initiatives, and our builders, we've got 5 builders, 5 wonderful builders that, builds within the community. They will say the same thing. This has helped their conversion
Yeah.
tremendously, because it essentially seals the deal. I mean, you can come up to the community, you can visit it. The visit can be an hour or it could be all day, um, but there's nothing like participating in those activities to get a flavor of what it's like to really live there. And so we developed that program. We partnered with Alisant to help make that program very easy for the customer. And it has been working very well for us.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people consider programs like this, and sometimes the weight of executing it can be a barrier.
Yeah.
So we've just been really happy to work with you to maybe put a little bit more in the hands of the home shopper so that they feel like, okay, I'm self-selecting what I'd like to do and what I want to see. And then, of course, a big part of it is spending time with a builder or several builders to find the right home. And so
Right.
I know one of the challenges for many master plan active adult communities is like, how do you wrap the community around the decision of what home to buy? And I think you've done a really masterful job of giving that prospective buyer a chance to answer the question for themselves. What would it feel like to live here?
Right.
So hats off to you on that. I think it's a role model program that most likely could benefit any number of other communities. So good for
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
So let's talk more about you. I have two questions that I like to
Sure.
ask every person, every guest on the podcast. And the first is about inspiration. So I look at you and having been with this project for 5, 6+ years now,
Mhm.
and really being part of the early concepting of for the lifestyle, the amenity plan, what kind of feeling do you want this community to embrace? That's a lot of work,
Yeah.
right? And
It's fun, but it's a lot. Yeah.
it is a
Yeah.
lot. And it's not like you can maybe conjure it all out of thin air. Where
Right.
do you look for inspiration for your work?
Well, I mean, it's a great question. I look at a couple of things, well, several things for inspiration. And they might not be related to my work, right? But it just
Sure.
kind of like opens up a different part of my brain, right?
Hmm.
So if we start kind of down the lines of industry focused, I attend ULI,
Yeah.
and then also the International Builder Show. These are opportunities that allow me to connect with others in the similar career field, and then also to understand what's going on in other locations from a development home builder perspective. Even looking at new products that are coming to market. Yeah, from everything from like sustainable products to also AI and how to leverage those. So that is very those types of opportunities is very inspiring. And there's also advertising agencies there too, and I get a lot
Yeah.
of inspiration from advertising agencies as well because my background is in marketing and my inherently while I'm involved in a lot of different things at Amblebrook, my role is a director of marketing. So
Hmm.
I like to figure out what is going to be the next thing that's going to be the hook to get people interested in a location, whether it's an ad and some really beautiful imagery to the verbiage that would really
Yeah.
speak to that customer. So those are kind of like the industry focused things that are opportunities that really inspire me. Um, there are others, I would say, there's so many. I would say, my kids inspire me. They're very creative, um, and their point of view and perspective on life, and even their questions that they ask, or even their comments, have me, pondering how I should look at things. You know, and we know kids are, like sponges, right? So they're very fun, and they bring the fun into my life, and so they're an inspiration to me. Um, I would also say my church community, we have a lot of close-knit friends and family, and they really encourage us and encourage me and hold me accountable, so they're a big inspiration. Um, I do listen to podcasts. One of my favorite podcasts, is Mel Robbins, and,
Hmm.
she's really focused on mindset, behaviors, and, um, life improvement, and so, that those have been some really easy podcasts to listen to and to take in. I have a commute to Gettysburg. It's about an hour and 10 way, so that's how I spend my time. And I think the last thing I would say, April, is I also listen to audiobooks, right? And
Mhm.
so um, I really have enjoyed the books written by Frida McFadden. I don't know if you've read any of hers.
No.
They're really easy read. They're a thriller. So
Nice.
I would recommend her. And then actually currently the one I'm reading, it's not by Frida McFadden, but it's an easy read is People We Meet on Vacation. I think it's by Emily Henry. So that, those are types of things that again just kind of maybe not so work focused, right? But allow me to free up some space, like and not think about work and have and kind of speak to a different part of my brain so that when I am ready to work, I'm coming to it from with kind of a blank slate and uh hopefully a new perspective.
No, that's a great answer, and you really are bringing your whole self to work.
Yeah.
So, I love
Yeah.
that you have, a very full life. I know you have your kids are very active in their
Yes.
own things, and that gets you running around as well, and
It does.
it I think you're right. It gives you the opportunity to bring some fresh perspective when it's time to focus on the work. That's a great
Yeah.
answer.
Thank you. Thank you.
And it's similar vein, but maybe from the other end of the telescope.
Yep.
Um, we have a lot of young listeners, which I love.
Yeah.
And many of them are listening thinking, how do I become the next Sarah? And,
Yeah.
they aspire really to
Right.
do the kind of work that you're doing. What advice would you give to the 25-year-old version of yourself, knowing what you know now?
Yeah. So I thought about this and I think um I would say be genuinely curious and operate from that point of view. Because I think when you operate from a position of curiosity, you're not going to naturally draw conclusions. So it would allow for a different tone in a conversation
Hmm.
and giving you more out of that conversation. And what I mean is, like, perhaps you'll be more collaborative and you'll um, come to more solutions to solve hard problems. So I think so often, and I wish I had done this, and sometimes I have to like stop myself, but I wish I had operated this way earlier in my career. Um, but so often we approach a problem already with the solution, you know?
Mhm.
We think we know it all, and,
Or we think we're supposed to know it all.
yes, and we think we're supposed to know it, and no, it's you don't necessarily have to know everything, and that's what's so awesome about working with a team, right? Where everybody's
Mhm.
coming to it with a different perspective. So, in order to solve that same problem, so if you check
Yeah.
everything at the door, right? The cliche saying, right? Like check that at the door. Check your thoughts on how to solve that problem at the door, and you just approach it in a curious way and ask questions, right? I think you'll have more of a collaborative discussion and you'll probably surprise yourself at the solution that you collectively have come to.
Yeah. That's great advice, and it almost feels a little, counterintuitive.
Yeah,
Maybe you're 25 and I wanna show what I know so that I can get a job, and
right.
so it is definitely a balance.
Yeah, it is.
Well, Sarah, what a delight. You were one of the first people I met in this industry, probably right after you started. We
Yeah,
were getting up and running with Allison. You've been one of my favorites over the years, and it's been a real pleasure for me to watch the your influence on Amblebrook and every award. I know as part of a team, but I can see you in them, and
yeah. Thank you.
I'm really, really delighted for you and wish you continued success.
Thanks, April. And thanks for this opportunity. And I've enjoyed working with you too.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.